There's a specific second when the power dies that nobody pays attention to. It doesn't kick off with panic. It kicks off with quiet. The constant background buzz of your house cuts out. The lights die. And for a few seconds, the whole place just sits there frozen. Then your brain starts working. Is this just my house? Or did the whole street go dark? How long am I stuck like this? What am I supposed to do first? So here's the real question. If your power dropped this second, are you actually ready? Because backup power isn't just owning a generator. It's knowing exactly what you need to run and for how long. That matters a lot more when the outage stretches into days instead of minutes. So I'm going to cut through the noise in this video. When it comes to powering your entire house during an outage, only 4 things actually matter. How much power your home burns through, how much power you can stockpile, how much power your system can push out at once, and how you ration that power as time goes on. Lock down these 4 ideas and the rest stops being confusing. After that, I'll show you 8 things I personally check before trusting any whole home backup system. Then I'll prove how it all connects with a live test where I kill the grid on purpose. But before any of that, let me explain one basic concept. Get this and everything else clicks instantly. Watts. Let me break this down because once it makes sense, the whole video gets easy. Right here, I've got a basic hot plate. Look at the label on the side. It says 1000 watts. That means while it runs, it demands 1000 watts of power. This solar generator beside me can pump out up to 1500 watts. The hot plate only wants 1000. So this unit handles it with room to spare. That's piece 1. Watts. How much power a device needs at this exact moment. Walk around your house and you'll spot this number on nearly everything. Appliances, gadgets, tools. There's a number with a W beside it, and that's what it takes to power that thing. Here's where people screw up. Watts tell you nothing about how long a device will keep running. For that, you need to look at energy. So let's get into watt hours. Watt hours tell you how much energy something chews through over time, or how much energy your battery is holding. Back to the hot plate. If it pulls 1000 watts and I run it for a full hour, that's 1000 watt hours of energy burned. Now run it for only 30 minutes. That's half the time. So I burned half the energy. Roughly 500 watt hours, that's the whole point. More time means more energy gone. Let me show you a couple more examples sitting in front of me. This light bulb sips about 8 watts. Run it an hour, and that's just 8 watt hours. This heat gun is a completely different animal. It pulls about 800 watts. You can see 800 watts printed right on the side. So 1 hour of use eats 800 watt hours. Now you're starting to see how different devices hit your system differently. Let me tie it together. This unit pushes out 500 watts and holds 1000 watt hours of capacity. Back to the hot plate. It needs 1000 watts to run. So yes, this unit runs it. But after 1 hour, the battery is dead. What about the heat gun? It demands 1500 watts. This unit caps out at 1500. So it flat out can't run that device. Now the light bulb, only 8 watts. Take the 1000 watt hours of capacity, divide by 8, and you get 125 hours of runtime. That's how long it powers that bulb. So once you nail these 2 things, how much power something needs and how much energy you've got stored, the whole thing makes sense. Let me push it one step further and answer the question I get more than any other. How long will this run my fridge? That's actually the wrong question to ask. The smarter question is how much energy does your fridge burn in a single day? For mine, the fridge uses about 0.9 kilowatt hours per day. That's 900 watt hours daily. That's the number that counts. Not the wattage it spikes to when the compressor kicks on. So go back to a system holding about 1000 watt hours of capacity. That's roughly 1 day of runtime for my fridge. And this is the moment most people realize their current setup is garbage. Let me add one more thing about reading your devices. Some appliances lie to you on the label. The sticker wattage is often the maximum draw, not the average. A microwave rated at 1200 watts might only average that while actively cooking. A space heater might cycle on and off to hold a temperature. So don't take every label at face value. Measure the real draw with a meter when you can. That's the only way to know the truth. Another thing people miss is standby power. Plenty of devices keep pulling small amounts even when they look off. TVs, game consoles, chargers left plugged in during a long outage, those tiny drains add up over days. Unplug what you're not using. Every watt hour you save is runtime you keep. Up to now, we've been staring at small portable units. But once you want to power more of your house, everything shifts. Now you're dealing with bigger systems that wire directly into your home. More capacity, higher output. You're not running a few gadgets anymore. You're holding up your actual house. That's what I want to shift into next. Quick break. If this is making sense so far, hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds and it helps a ton. Now back to it, 4 principles. Once you've got the basics down, output and capacity, the next question becomes simple. How does this apply to your home? Everything I've said so far is theory. In this section, I'm making it personal. When it comes to whole home backup power, there are 4 things you need to understand before you shop for a single system. Number 1, how much power your home actually uses. Start here. How much power do you really burn? Most people have no clue, but your power bill spells it out. Look right here. You'll see the total usage for the month. You'll also see my average daily use. For me, that's about 47 kilowatt hours per day. That number matters more than anything else in this video. It's your baseline. It's what your home eats to run normally. During an outage, you almost certainly won't run everything. But this gives you a real starting point to work from. Don't skip it. Most people guess, and guessing is how you end up with the wrong system. Number 2, how much power can you store? Now that you know what your home uses, the next question is how much energy can you stockpile? This is where battery systems show up. With a system like this, you're done dealing with tiny portable units. You're dealing with something built to hold up your home. Each unit stores a serious chunk of energy, and you expand it over time by stacking on more batteries. In my setup, I run 2 main units plus an expansion battery. That gives me a lot more capacity to play with. So instead of thinking in hours, you start thinking in days of power. But there's another piece just as important. Solar. Storage by itself is finite. Recharge your system every day with solar, and you stretch your runtime way past what the battery alone can do. Storage decides how long you last. Solar decides whether you run out at all. More on that in a minute. Number 3, how much power can you output? Here's where people trip. Storage is one thing. Output decides what you can actually run. Think about it this way. You might have a mountain of stored energy, but if your system can't deliver enough power at once, certain appliances just won't turn on. Most modern homes are built around a 200 amp electrical panel. That's what feeds everything in the house. With a system like this, each unit pushes out a serious amount of power. Combine them into a smart panel and you crank that output even higher. The math is simple. More output means more of your home running at the same time. Less output means you're stuck with the bare essentials. I'll show you exactly how that smart panel works shortly. Number 4, how you manage that power over time. This is the part nearly everyone ignores. It's not just how much power you've got, it's how you spend it. During the day, if you're tied to solar, you recharge while you use. That's when you run the heavy stuff. At night, with no solar coming in, you switch to conservation mode. You prioritize what counts. Refrigeration, lighting, communication, climate control. Manage your usage like this and you stretch your runtime hard. I'll add a 5th idea here that gets overlooked. Know your peak hours. There are times of day when your house demands the most. Spread out your heavy appliances so they don't all fire at once. Running the oven, the well pump, and the AC at the same moment is how you trip your system. Stagger them. I'll add a 6th idea too. Plan for the weather. A backup system in winter behaves differently than one in summer. Cold slows down battery performance. Heat strains your cooling loads. Cloudy days kill solar production. So build in a buffer. Don't size your system for perfect conditions. Size it for the bad days, because those are exactly when the power goes out. Put all of this together and things start to click. Most people make one of 2 mistakes. They lowball their needs and run out of power fast, or they overspend on a system they don't even understand. But once you know how much you use, how much you can store, how much you can output, and how to manage it, you build a system that actually fits your life. Now that the 4 principles are locked in, we move to the next step. Because once you start looking at real systems, a few critical things separate a setup that works from one that dies right when you need it. So next, I'll walk you through the 8 things I check when sizing up a whole home backup system. Once you see them, you'll spot why most setups fall short and how to dodge that. Real quick before we move on. If you're getting value out of this, smash that like button. Leave a comment with your biggest power concern and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. All right, moving on. 8 things to look for now that you get how power works. The next question is, how do you pick the right system? This is where things split apart. On the surface, a lot of these systems look the same, but break them down and a few key differences decide whether your setup works when it counts or leaves you in the dark. Before I dig in, full disclosure. Jackery sponsored this video and supplied the gear we're using, but everything I'm about to walk you through applies to any system on the market. I also recently did a full comparison of whole home backup systems. I'll link it below if you want to go deeper. Now here are the 8 things I personally look for. I'm not ranking these in any order. Each one matters for how the system performs in the real world. The first thing is automation. In a real outage, you don't want to be fumbling around figuring things out in the moment. With a system like this, everything connects through a smart panel. People call it a critical load panel. Specific circuits from your main electrical panel get moved into this panel. That way they stay powered during an outage and can be used for peak load shaving. We'll cover that in a minute. In my setup, I moved over several 15-amp circuits, plus a 240-volt circuit for the oven. Not everything in the house ties into the smart panel, just the critical loads I want to keep alive during an outage. So when the grid drops, everything switches over automatically. No extension cords, no manual setup, no decisions to make under stress. For a lot of people, especially with a family at home or if you're away, that's a huge advantage. The second thing is instant switchover, or UPS. This is about how fast the system reacts. When the power drops, you don't want everything blinking off first. With a proper UPS setup, an uninterruptible power supply, the transition is basically seamless. You won't even notice it. That continuity matters. Whether it's refrigeration, climate control, or anything else, you don't want a hard cutoff. As you can see here, I killed the power going to the smart panel and the system picks right up. You might catch a slight flicker depending on the load, but everything keeps running as the system pulls from the batteries. The third thing is 240-volt capability. Most portable systems, the kind I've covered for years on this channel, are built for smaller devices. But once you move into whole home backup, you're dealing with bigger loads. Ovens, vac systems, well pumps. When a system handles 240 volts, you're no longer just powering a few gadgets. You're supporting your house. In my latest comparison video, you'll notice I only reviewed systems that natively output 240 volts. Back when these first hit the market, you needed 2 units tied together to get 240 volts. The newer units do it solo. I actually used a tied-together setup for this barn build I'm recording in. Some appliances didn't handle it well because the 240 volt wasn't clean. With these newer systems, that problem is gone. The fourth thing is load management. It's not just about how much power you have, it's about how you spend it. With systems like this, you prioritize circuits based on how much battery is left, all through the app in the smart panel. For example, you could set it so that if the battery drops under 50%, the things that matter less, maybe the oven or the mini split heating and cooling, get cut off. Meanwhile, the lights, a few wall sockets, and the fridge stay on. If the mini split or oven is your priority, set it that way. It's completely up to you how you configure the circuits. This lets you protect what's critical to you. Manage your load like this and you stretch your runtime way out. The fifth thing is no noise and no fumes, which gives you security. A lot of people don't think about this. In a widespread outage, noise and fumes attract attention. Traditional generators are loud, they reek, they scream to everyone that you've got power. Systems like this run dead quiet indoors without tipping anyone off. For a lot of people, that matters more than they realize. It's easy to overlook. But depending on how long the power stays out, drawing eyes to your house is a bad idea. The sixth thing is solar. Let's talk solar, because this is what changes the whole game. With solar, you're not just draining stored battery energy, you're refilling it. During the day, you generate power while you use it. So you're not just leaning on your battery, you're extending your runtime. Like I said earlier, storage decides how long you last and solar decides whether you run out at all. The obvious win is that you're not chained to a finite fuel source. Some people will go with a whole home gas generator, and that's a legitimate choice. But for my community, a system that runs for months or even years with zero fuel is a massive advantage. The seventh thing is expandability. Most people don't build a system like this all at once. You start with a base setup and grow it over time. With a system like this, once the smart panel is installed, you keep adding capacity yourself. You don't need to drag an electrician back out to add another inverter or another battery. On the main house on this property, we've got a typical solar setup done by a pro. It has an inverter and permitted batteries. It's a great setup. But the downside is I can't touch it without calling an electrician. This setup starts with 1 unit, lets you add a second, and then stack 10 more batteries, pushing the whole system to 60 kilowatt hours. The eighth thing is ROI, return on investment. The last thing I check is whether the system delivers value outside of an emergency. I prefer systems that actually get used, not ones that just sit in a corner waiting for disaster. Depending on your setup and your local utility rates, systems like this can knock down a real chunk of your energy bill over time. For example, you shift your usage. Charge from the grid when rates are cheap. Use that stored power when rates spike. So you're not just prepping for outages. You're improving your day-to-day. My setup ties into both the grid and solar. So if the batteries drop too low at night, or solar isn't producing enough, The app can be set to pull from the grid. With my current solar setup, I don't even need to. I produce everything this house needs straight from solar. I'll throw in a ninth thing here that people forget. Build quality and warranty. A backup system is useless if it dies in 2 years. Look at how long the battery is rated to last. Check the cycle count. Check what the warranty actually covers. A cheap unit that fails when you need it most costs you everything, not just money. Spend a little more for something that holds up. And a 10th thing, monitoring and app control. You want to see what your system is doing in real time, how much power each circuit is drawing, how much battery is left, whether solar is producing. If you're flying blind, you can't make smart decisions during an outage. A solid app turns a dumb battery into a tool you actually control. And an 11th thing, installation and serviceability. Some systems need a licensed electrician and a permit just to get running. Others you can set up yourself. Know what you're getting into before you buy. Also think about repairs. If a battery module fails, can you swap just that module? Or do you have to replace the whole unit? A modular system saves you money down the road. One more, a 12th thing. Temperature tolerance. Where does the system live? A garage that hits freezing or an attic that bakes in summer will hurt your batteries. Check the operating temperature range before you commit to a spot. Some units need climate-controlled space to perform well. Ignore this and you'll lose capacity right when you need it most. Put all of this together and you separate a system that works in theory from one that works in real life. So next, I'll show you exactly how this setup performs by faking a grid outage and walking you through what actually happens when the system takes over. Quick pause. You're more than halfway through. If this is helping, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Seriously, it makes a difference. Now let's run the test. Grid outage test. Now that we've covered what to look for, let's put it to the test. Everything up to this point is theory. This is where we see how it actually performs. Right now, the house is running normally. We're tied to the grid. The system is active. Everything operates like any typical day. What I'm going to do is fake a grid outage. Let me shut off the power coming from the grid. As you can see, the system picks up immediately. The house keeps running. You might catch a slight flicker depending on the load, but everything stays powered. This is exactly what I meant earlier with automation and UPS. The system takes over and everything just keeps going. Let's look at what's actually being powered right now. We've got the fridge running, lights throughout the house, and several critical circuits moved into the smart panel. Now let's push it further. This is a 240-volt appliance, and as you can see, the system handles it without a problem. Now let's check the system from the app. This is where you see what's happening in real time. You monitor your load. You see how much power each circuit is using. You adjust your priorities if you need to. And here's where it gets interesting. We're running the house and pulling in solar at the same time. So instead of just draining the battery, we're actively refilling it. This is exactly why I'm a big fan of solar. As long as you manage your load, you can power your home for as long as you need without touching fuel. Keep in mind this setup is built around 2 main units plus an expansion, battery, all connected through the smart panel. This isn't a small backup solution. It's a system designed to support critical loads in my home. This is where load management really earns its keep. If I needed to, I could cut usage by switching off non-essential circuits in the app or just turning those devices off. Doing that stretches the runtime even further. During the day when solar production is high, I'd run heavier appliances like the oven. Then as night comes, I'd start shedding load to make sure I can power critical items like the fridge through the night. Let me show you one more thing during this test. Watch what happens when I add a heavy load suddenly. I'll fire up the oven while the fridge is already running. See how the app instantly reflects the spike? The system absorbs it without dropping anything. That's the difference between a real whole home system and a glorified power bank. The smart panel balances everything in real time. Now let me test the recharge side of things. I'll point the solar at the system and watch the battery percentage climb while we're still drawing power. This is the part people don't believe until they see it. The battery is going up, not down, even with the house running. That's what real solar integration looks like. During peak sun, you can actually gain ground instead of just slowing the drain. Let me also show you what happens at low battery. I've simulated the battery dropping under my 50% threshold. Watch the app. The non-essential circuits deprioritized just shut off automatically. The oven cut out, but the fridge, the lights, and my key outlet stayed on. That's load management doing its job without me touching anything. The system protects what matters most on its own. So when you look at this in a real-world scenario, this is what matters. Not just whether you have backup power, but whether your system is set up to handle your home the way you actually live in it. That's what it looks like in the real world. Not just having backup power, but having a system built to support your home the way you actually use it. From here, it comes down to how you build your system around your needs. All right, let's pivot to a free tool I made that ties all of this together. But before I walk you through it, let me hit a question I get constantly. How do I power the things that matter to me, and how long can I run them? First, to figure out how much these devices need, you'll probably want something like a kilowatt meter. You can grab one at your local hardware store or online for about 20 bucks. Dead simple tool. I'll link it below. How do you use it? You plug it into your wall socket. Then you plug the appliance you want to power into the front of it, say your fridge. Plug it in. It powers on, and you select a setting on the meter to show you kilowatt hours, or how much energy that fridge pulled over a period of time. So let's say you run it for 24 hours, one full day. At the end of those 24 hours, you check the meter. It'll show you that fridge used maybe 1.1 or 2 kilowatt hours. Somewhere in that ballpark. It shows you fast how much that fridge ate over that time. It also shows you in real time how many watts that device demands to run. Those values matter because you can plug them straight into the spreadsheet I'm giving you. Let me walk you through it quickly. Again, I'll link it below. This is a file on Google Drive. You won't be able to edit the original. You'll need to copy it to your own Google Drive, or download it and open it in Excel or a similar tool, then edit it there. If you don't know how to set up a Gmail account or Google Drive, just search "How do I set up a Google Drive" and it'll walk you through it. So what are we looking at here? Columns S through T are the Jackery 5000, the unit we've been covering in this video. We've pre-filled the values and specs for this device. One Jackery outputs 7200 watts continuously, with a surge of 14400. If you bought 2 Jackeries and plugged them into the smart panel, you'd double that to 14400 continuous. But for now, we're just considering one unit. Scroll down. We've pre-filled a lot of these values. Starting on row 32, you'll see the maximum surge capability of this unit, in this case 14400. Surge just refers to devices that spike when they start. Devices with motors have an initial surge. It takes a burst of power to spin them up, your air conditioner, things like that. They need a lot of surge to get going. Once they're running, they drop to continuous wattage. Here we're talking about that surge. We've added this info, and you'll see what it does in a second. Next is recommended running. Typically, they recommend pushing these devices to about half, around 50%, continuously. Think of it like the engine in your car. Redline it all day, and you'll wear it out fast. You want to run it around half of its continuous output on a daily basis. This one outputs 200 watts. So running at about 3600 continuously keeps you well within range. That's a general rule of thumb. It's not mandatory. But if you're pushing a ton of power constantly, you want a bigger inverter. Next is row 34 capacity. One Jackery 5000 holds 5040 watt hours, or about 55 kilowatt hours. We covered this earlier when we talked about battery capacity and watt hours. Go back and re-watch that part if you need to. So what are we looking at here? This is where it gets fun. Look at columns A through E. We added the typical things people want to power: a fridge, a hot plate, a TV, a microwave. You can edit these values yourself. We pre-filled them for you. Row 17 is probably the most common one, a fridge 18 cubic foot, give or take. Let me back up fast. Column B shows how many watts it needs when you first turn it on. For this fridge, I put 100, but newer fridges usually run around 150 watts. Now come over here and pick how long you want to power it. Whoops, let me go up. Row 17, let me highlight this one. We'll say one device. Column D lets you pick. Maybe you have 2 fridges, or 3. In this case, we'll say 1. Whoops, I hit 0. Let me go back to 1. Now we pick how long to power it. Let's say 8 hours. So go to column S and you'll see that after 8 hours of running at 200 watts each hour, that comes out to roughly 15600 watt hours. But a fridge doesn't run all the time. It cycles on and off, running maybe 40 to 50% of the day. That depends on your climate, how cold or hot your house is, and so on. So I'll bump this down to 100 to fudge the number. A typical day, a fridge might use a little over a kilowatt hour of battery capacity. You can play with these numbers. You'll find the real info using your kilowatt meter. Let's say, what else do we want to turn on? The example of a coffee maker. We'll run it for about 5 minutes. Just one. It pulls 800 watts. Then your hot plate. We want to heat up some food. We'll run one for 10 minutes. See what's happening over here? Column S starts telling you how much energy in watt hours each device pulls from the battery for that full runtime. These values start adding up. Scroll to the bottom and the calculator automatically updates how much capacity is left in the battery. In our case, after running these devices for the times we picked, it's got 3,800 watt hours left. Still a lot, starting out at 5,000. So what does this tell you? You can quickly see how long you can power devices and how many. The tool is smart enough that if you say you want to power this and this and this, and they all draw a lot at once, it goes red. It's warning you that you've pushed past the limit. Let me give an example. Say I want to run 5 stovetops, which you'd never actually do. Each burner pulls 1,500 watts. As you can see, it's now telling you that you overshot. It's red because this unit only outputs 5,000. Bump it down to 3 and now we're at 4,500, still red. It flags red when you're over 50% of what it can do, telling you you're running on the high side. Bump it to 2, still a little high. Bring it down to 1 and you're well within range, so you can push past that 50%. This unit outputs 7,200 max. We color-coded it to tell you what's within its real design range. This unit continuously outputs 5,000. So in an emergency, if you need 5, zeros on watts continuous, go for it. No problem. Let me add one more tip about the spreadsheet. Build a few different scenarios. One for daytime with solar charging, one for nighttime conservation, one for a worst-case multi-day outage. Save them separately. That way, when the power actually goes out, you're not doing math under pressure. You just pull up the plan that fits the situation and follow it. And don't forget the things you don't think about. Phone chargers, a router if you still have internet, a CPAP machine if someone in your house needs one. Medical devices come first always. Add those to your spreadsheet before anything else. A few watts for a medical device is non-negotiable. Plan around it from the start, not as an afterthought. One more note on the math. Always pad your numbers. If the spreadsheet says you've got exactly enough, you don't. Real life is messier than a calculator. Batteries lose a little capacity to inefficiency. Devices draw more than their labels claim. Give yourself a buffer of 20% or more. Running out of power is a lot worse than buying slightly more capacity than you strictly needed. Better safe than sorry here. Hopefully this tool gives you enough info to play with the values and figure out your own needs. So at the end of the day, this comes down to understanding your situation. How much power do you use? What actually matters during an outage? And how do you want to approach it? There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. What works for one home makes no sense for another. But if you understand the fundamentals we covered, and you take the time to think through your own needs, you can build a system that actually works when you need it. Whether that's something small and portable or a larger setup like what we covered, the goal isn't just to own another backup power solution. It's to have a plan. Let me leave you with a few final thoughts. Test your system before you need it. Don't wait for a real outage to find out something is wired wrong. Run a drill. Kill the grid on purpose, like I did here, and see what stays on. Fix the gaps while it's calm, not during a crisis. Also, keep your system charged. A backup battery sitting at 20% does you no good when the lights go out. Top it off regularly. If you're tied to solar, this happens on its own. If not, make it a habit. A full battery is a ready battery, and start small if you need to. You don't have to buy everything at once. Get a base system that covers your true critical loads. The fridge, some lights, a way to charge your phone. Then expand as your budget allows. A small working system beats a big plan you never executed. Buy what you can afford now and grow it later. So hopefully this video gave you a clearer way to think about all of it and helped you take the next step toward building something that makes sense for you. If you're interested in any of the gear we covered, I'll link to it below. As always, stay safe out there. And one last time, if this video helped you, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel. Your comments also tell me what to cover next. So let me know what questions you still have. Catch you in the next one.